Welcome to the NACIC World Podcast. The objective of the NACIC World Podcast is to uplift, inspire, motivate, and to encourage personal growth and introspection. The human spirit is a flame that can be neglected, ignored, and covered up, but it can also be nurtured, nourished, and fanned to create a mighty fire. The NACIC World Podcast, fan the flame of your spirit. Here is your host, RJ.
Welcome back, and it's so nice to be with you once again on NACIC World Podcast. In the midst of these challenging times, we can think that we are going through the worst time ever. When you're in the middle of a crisis, it is normal to think that the crisis will never end. You might say things like, "My life is over." No, you're not really dramatic. It's just one of our thinking errors. It's difficult for us to judge a crisis while we are in it. In hindsight, it is always much easier. We can look back and think, I survived that. I will survive other difficult things into the future. But when we face death, illness, financial problems, or adversity in our relationships, we're quick to think it's the end of everything. And once we get stuck in a negative pattern, we lose motivation. And what happens when we lose motivation, right? We give up. Life will never be a bed of roses. It will eventually throw unpleasant surprises and challenges your way. Bad things happen. There's no way around it. Loved ones die, jobs are lost, relationships end, hearts are broken, people fall ill, etc. Difficulties and problems are part of our lives. We experience them frequently in various ways. Depending upon how we respond to them or deal with them, they might either strengthen us or weaken us. People often confuse setbacks with adversity. But unlike setbacks, which are single events, adversity can last a long time and encompass many events and changes in circumstances. When problems become persistent and troublesome, we may call it an adverse situation. Today in this episode, I want to talk about dealing with adversity.
NACIC World Podcast, broadcasting all over the world. You are listening to NACIC World Podcast. If you are serious about making money online from home, then visit SMMEnterpriseOnline.com. SMMEnterpriseOnline.com.
What is adversity? Adversity is any hardship, difficulty, or suffering which creates problems and interferes with our ability to live our lives normally or reach our goals. Depending upon the circumstances, an adversity may last for a short time or a long time, and in the process may toughen us, either teaching us valuable lessons or totally demoralizing us, pushing us into depression and withdrawal. Sometimes it leaves lasting and painful memories that are difficult to erase, and at other times it brings out the best in us and propels us towards success and self-growth. Adversity is a difficult phase in your life when you're repeatedly experiencing failures, disappointments, and frustration. Now, some examples of adverse situations that you may experience in your life is the death of a family member, or business failure, loss of income, prolonged separation from family, prolonged illness, even being a foreigner in a strange country, divorce and marital conflicts, and so on. There are different levels of adversity you can experience throughout your life. What defines the extent of your adversity is how you perceive and handle your problems. It's also your belief in your ability to overcome them. How you respond to your adversity depends on the meaning you give it. The key to overcoming adversity begins and ends with the right mindset. First, know that you are not alone. The truth is that everyone faces adversity at some point in their lives. How you deal with that adversity will determine whether you succeed or not. With positive thinking, calm emotions, and a deliberate thought process, you will overcome adversity and achieve your goals.
NACIC World Podcast, broadcasting all over the world. You are listening to NACIC World Podcast. Are you interested in doing an online tourism business course? Visit tourismbusinessonline.com, tourismbusinessonline.com.
How you respond to adversity depends upon how you perceive it and interpret it, according to your values, beliefs, experience, and understanding. When adversity strikes, most people initially suffer from negativity, fear, and depression, but quickly recover from it and try to deal with their problems. However, some continue to suffer and feel depressed and helpless. Some people emerge strongly from adversity, with determination and courage to set things right as they learn from it, while some develop distrust and suspicion and remain depressed and discouraged. Factors that shape your life and thinking also shape your response to adversity, such as your upbringing, your personal beliefs, and past events. When adversity hits you, you don't have any choice but to deal with it. You have within you the ability for overcoming adversity and dealing with failure. You either deal with adversity and failure, or you let it destroy you. It's not until you are pushed or forced through adversity that you discover who you really are. How you respond to adversity reveals your true character. Now, here are some strategies for dealing with adversity. Firstly, ask for help. No person alone can shoulder the weight of every burden. Sharing the weight makes the burden lighter. No, that is true. Ask for help. Secondly, put your event, your adversity into a larger perspective. Even if it seems to be a meaningless incident. Sadly, bad things do happen to good people. That is a fact of life. And then thirdly, take whatever small steps you can to manage the situation. Something as seemingly trivial as self-care when you're overwhelmed can be a hardship. Do anything for yourself. Start where you can bring some sense of control to yourself in a world that may otherwise seem chaotic. And fourthly, use your adversity as fuel for success. Now, serious adversity creates initial shock, but once that shock subsides, your brain starts processing the experience. You're now in a position to choose how you will respond. The concepts of success and failure mean different things to different people. The meaning you give an experience determines what it becomes. Let me use some examples. If you have a relationship breakup, it can be a failure. Like you can say, it didn't work out. Or it could be a success. You could say, hey, a new chapter of my life has just began. Losing a job can also be a failure. And you can think, I don't have a job anymore. My life is a disaster. Or it can be a success. You can say to yourself, that wasn't my passion anyway. And I wanted to leave the job. So they have done me a favor to fire me. See, you can always benefit from your adversity in some way.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. Firstly, it's free. Secondly, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Thirdly, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. Fourthly, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Lastly, it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You are listening to NACIC World Podcast.
Ultimately, the only person you can control and transform in this world with greater ease and certainty is you. you can control and manage your thoughts, actions, responses, ideas, plans, attitude, and approaches. It is where you should focus when you have problems in life and when you are unable to make expected progress. See where you are going wrong, what mistakes you might have made, and how you may overcome them. Honest self-evaluation is the best policy and approach in adverse situations. If you write yourself, many things about your life and destiny cannot go wrong. With self-control and discipline, you can mend your life and establish a firm foundation for your success and happiness. Adversity toughens and teaches you valuable lessons. It lets you know your vulnerabilities so that you can address them and make yourself stronger. Therefore, take each adversity as an opportunity to become a better and more capable human being. That brings us to the end of this episode. Please keep on fanning the flame of your spirit.
Please like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and podcast platforms. Send your emails to podcast@nacicinchina.com. NACIC World Podcast is broadcasted twice weekly, every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Beijing time. Until next time, please stay safe and be blessed. Till we meet again.